Hey everyone, it's Mr. Wobble94. I hope you're doing well today. I have kind of a review here, I guess, for the first volume of a series that threw me off. I had never heard of this. I bought this book like 2 years ago and I just never got around to it, I'll be honest with you. It's been sitting on my shelf for a long time and the cover looked very Gundam-esque, very kaiju-like, I assume, and I wanted to try it out at some point. I picked this book up like a month ago, read about 20-30 pages, and really liked it, and I decided to finish the other parts of it today as I had a window installed on my house. And I didn't want to be rude and sit in the same room with a loud-ass movie or a video game or something I've been playing. So I decided to read a book and finish up this particular one. It's about 180 pages long. This particular book is tied to a big series that I've never heard of in my entire life, to my knowledge. Apparently it dates all the way back to the 80s, and as far as I know, this apparently is the newest of the book series that are out there. Of course, Japanese manga have many different eras. You have like Naruto Shippuden after that, and then you have like, what is it, Boruto? Something like that. And they're all kind of secluded to their own eras with their own stories, but they have kind of ties and references to other stuff. Dragon Ball, another great example, but Dragon Ball is more like a straight timeline. You kind of have to experience certain things to enjoy Z moving into Super and kind of other things like that in that franchise. This is, as far as I know, basically kind of secluded to itself. I don't know. I picked it up never having any exposure to the franchise, and I say all that to say this. I had a good time for what I read. It wasn't half bad. This is called Getter Robo Devolution, the last 3 minutes of the universe. And again, this is volume 1, as that introduces right there. Now look, some people accuse me of never putting effort into my reviews, and here I am wearing a red shirt for an awesome looking red cover. Now let me tell you, I have my criticisms about this book, but once again, very enjoyable for what it was. I'm going to try to read the names of these authors. I am not Japanese. I do not speak Japanese. So, here we go. It says original story. I don't know if that means like producer or concept by, idea by, story by, on a movie type of concept. I don't know what we're talking about here. But it says 2 people were involved with that, Go Nagai and Ken Ishikawa. And then it says the manga, I assume this actual book itself, or this series, by the way, it's about 5 books as far as I know, is by Eiichi Shimizu, and I'm assuming the art is done by Tomohiro Shimoguchi, I assume. But anyway, there are those folks' names right there. Now, again, this is a pretty weird little startup to a series. This is a very kaiju-like tale, monsters versus giant robots type of thing. If you like that kind of thing, then stick around. Maybe this will intrigue you some. This was kind of dark for what it was. It very much impressed me. And again, I mostly grew up on Gundam. I don't really know anything else outside of that. And maybe Pacific Rim, which sucks ass. Who likes Pacific Rim aside from some fucking normies? Anyway, Getter Robo Devolution is part of the Getter Robo series. This particular one follows a young man named, it's like, what is his name? I want to make sure I get the name correct. Let's see. How do I say your name, buddy? God. You know, I'm used to picking up these manga books and they have like the name of a character right there, right in the front, and this is not the case for this one. Okay, Nagai Ryoma, something like that. By the way, there's 5 chapters in here. Nagai Ryoma, apparently his parents are dead, and I'm assuming there was some kind of big tragedy there. You aren't really filled in too much in this book about what happened there. But there's also a girl at his school, at a private school I assume he goes to, that happens to know him as well. She has a situation where her parents are apparently dead as well, and she kind of has a thing for him, but he's more of a loner. Nagari is a loner type who just wants to keep to himself. He's kind of grumpy. He's not really a friendly guy at all. And then one day, while he saves this young girl that he has a crush on, or I guess he doesn't have a crush on her, but she has a thing for him, whatever, he saves her from a really bad, horrific crime of assault that could have happened to her, and essentially, the next day, she wants to give him a gift at school, and this giant monster shows up outside of the window while Nagari is looking outside. And it destroys the school. It kills pretty much everybody at the school. And that's a lot to be said. That's pretty much the entire first 2 chapters of the book. And that might sound like I'm telling you too much, but you need to know that to know this. He's then introduced to a doctor who tells him, hey, there's this thing called the Getter or whatever. I'm assuming, remember, I'm new, guys. For you guys who are hardcore fans, I'm new to this concept. I do not know shit about it, and here I'm trying to explain to you what I can, especially for people out there, since this is a spoiler-free review, trying to help you. He's introduced by this doctor to something called Getter, which happens to also have this giant robot that apparently he can be connected to just because he was born a certain way with some kind of thing in his body system that other people don't have called Getter rays. There's very few people on the planet who have Getter rays in their system. All of that shit sounds stupid. It really does. But I had a good time. And I was surprised with how much blood was in this. It wasn't a ton, but it was enough to shock you a little bit and kind of surprise you. Again, I'm not used to this series. I don't know anything about it. The most gore I've ever experienced in manga, for that matter, was Attack on Titan. I read the first volume and hated it, but the blood in there was fucking crazy. This book here was kind of a situation where I really enjoyed what I saw, whether it be the small amounts of gore, the art itself looks really good. Let me show you some samples of that, I guess. It looks like your standardized art for manga. You know, of course, this came out, I believe, in 2015, if I remember correctly. 2016, 2015, 2018, I don't know. But it was good. I liked it a lot. I was very impressed for what this was. I don't want to tell you much more of anything. There is like one very quick, and I mean very quick, fight in the actual story. But I do have a big complaint. The Getter Robo robot, whatever you want to call it, that's apparently, from what I understand, looking at YouTube and trying to find other reviews for this volume or this series or whatever, apparently every version of Getter Robo in the different series versions of this have different designs for Getter Robo. Think of like Power Rangers, which is another thing I forgot to mention that I know with kaiju stuff. Think of something like that, or different variations of well-known Gundams, that kind of thing, Megazords from Power Rangers. The design for the Getter Robo robot here looks like shit. And the reason I say that is because, again, it feels like a kind of a knockoff Gundam to me, but this thing is so big, it's probably bigger than Gundam back in the day. I don't know anything about it. But this thing basically looks like the YouTube channel More Plates, More Dates, where he has the humongous deltoids on his shoulders. This robot looks fucking ridiculous, and I think he looks embarrassing. And he looks so embarrassing, they don't really show him much in this book to try to give you some kind of mystique. I am not here at all for the kaiju stuff. Let me be honest with you. That stuff is not what this book is really propelled upon. Maybe the later volumes are, maybe the whole franchise overall is, but this particular book, not really. Not really, if I'm being honest with you. I really liked the character stuff with Nagai. I really liked the stuff with him, his past, that mystery surrounding that, the mystery surrounding this Getter thing, the doctor, the secret conspiracy theory, FBI spy people, whatever this is supposed to be described as. The people who are introducing themselves to Nagai and telling him about the Getter Robo and all of that. That stuff is way more interesting to me, and way more possibly even compelling to me, than this kaiju robot versus monsters that we don't really understand in this first volume. Hopefully there's more explanation for that, and hopefully it doesn't rely on previous knowledge from other things. Now, the Devolution basically are what these monsters are called, by the way. They're called the Devolved, which I don't understand that entirely. I guess they're monsters that just could have been fucking bacteria that could have become people according to evolution or something. I don't know. I'm assuming that's what the hint is for this. It's not explained thoroughly here. I don't need it to be. It adds a little mystique in there anyway. Maybe it's been explained in the past in other series. I don't know. But I'm not in love with that stuff. Nor have I ever been. Again, like I said, I love Power Rangers. I love Gundam. Fuck Pacific Rim. It all feels like a lackluster tale sometimes with that kind of thing when it comes to kaiju stuff for me. But Getter Robo Devolution Volume 1, which I guess the subtitle is The Last 3 Minutes of the Universe, whatever that means, Volume 1 here was very solid. Very solid. A nice little recommendation for me. If you haven't checked it out before, I would recommend it. I'm not going to go out and buy physical copies of all 4 of the other books. I will probably read those on digital and do reviews with them on a digital copy on my Kindle or something at some point whenever I get around to them. I didn't love this, but it was solid for a nice little introduction to either a new Getter Robo series for people or just one to normies like myself when it comes to this particular thing. Again, I love manga. I've read a lot of manga. I'm in the middle of Death Note right now. I love stuff like that, and I love stuff that can compel me with characters and story, and this does, and I enjoy that. If you're into that kind of thing more so than extreme action scenes or fight scenes or kaiju typical stuff, if you're into that like I am, I think you'll enjoy this to an extent. If you're a hardcore kaiju fan, I don't know what I would tell you about it. It's very normie fare if I enjoyed it, is what I'm trying to express, I guess. Anyway, when it comes to Getter Robo Devolution Volume 1, have you read it? What do you think about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments about the book down in the comment section down below. If I had to rate it on a 5-star basis, I would probably give this, art included and everything, for the solid art we got, and some of the nice shocking moments, I would probably give it maybe a 3 out of 5 stars. I want to lean towards a 4, and maybe with the future volumes, maybe it'll improve this book even more. For what it is as a standardized beginning to a series, I loved it way more than something like Attack on Titan. I thought it was really good for a first volume, for what it needed to do, what it needed to introduce. I can't talk. But anyway, I liked it for what it was, and I do recommend it if you're into this kind of thing, or if you're new to it, like I kind of am. Anyway, have you read Getter Robo Devolution? I knew I was going to forget the review title, or the title of the book, or whatever. I do that all the time with stuff like this, man. Japanese book titles and manga titles are so long and complex and complicated. It's very wordy a lot of the time. So, anyway, have you read it? What do you think about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments about this book, the series. Leave it spoiler free. I can't talk, excuse me, so that I'm not spoiled, so other people aren't spoiled. I want people to be able to jump into this and enjoy it if they want, whether it be in the comments or whatever. Just be careful, guys. Don't ruin things for people. Anyway, Getter Robo Devolution Volume 1. Thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Merry Christmas. I hope I have another review at some point for a Christmas book I'm currently reading that I've been meaning to for like 10 years for you at some point. So we'll see what happens with that. And anyway, thank you guys. God bless you all. Merry Christmas and goodbye.